Now let's turn our attention to telecom, a recap of 2024 and the outlook for 2025. Now, 2024 has been a mixed bag for telecom. On one hand, you've got a Bharti Airtel, which has moved up close to 63% year to date. But you also have Vodafone Idea, which has seen a fall of more than 50% so far this year. Balaji Subramanian, is now joining in. He joins us from IIFL. He's the Vice President of IIFL Securities. Balaji, thank you very much for joining in. Let's start with the big boy, Bharti Airtel. 2024, good year, 63% kind of rally. But it also benefited because we got tariff hikes this year. What about next year? What are the triggers for Airtel going into 2025?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show, Reema. As far as 2025 is concerned, the key things to watch out for would be, from a Bharti Airtel perspective, I think it will be more of the same, where we will see ARPU steadily inching up until we see the next round of tariff hikes, which I think probably should happen sometime in the second half of 2025. So that is one. The other thing is I expect the capex intensity to keep coming off, especially in India. So that would mean that you'll have ARPU and EBITDA going up, while capex also will come down, which would result in healthy FCF generation for Bharti, and subsequently we should see deleveraging of the balance sheet. The other key thing to watch out for would be not just for Bharti Airtel, but for the industry as a whole is what happens on the satellite broadband front, because the TRAI has been working on the modalities of spectrum pricing and allocation of satellite spectrum. So we'll have to see what happens there, and whether Starlink ends up getting a license, and what exactly is going to happen on that front. But my take is that satellite broadband still has a long way to go before it becomes anywhere close to competitive versus terrestrial services. The other thing
Sorry, just to follow up, but if Starlink gets a license in 2025, do you expect derating for Bharti Airtel? While you're saying it's not immediate competition, but how are investors viewing this? How will they view this development if it comes?
So I think you may have some, volatility around, the news flow on Starlink, because at the end of the day, the stocks, the telecom stocks, especially Airtel, Hexacom, have rallied quite a bit during this year. So I wouldn't, rule out some section of investors to probably end up booking profits when you have these news flow on Starlink coming in. But that said, from a fundamental perspective, I don't think one should see any dent in terms of business prospects for the traditional terrestrial telcos.
You were telling us the third trigger. One was satellite, the first one was tariffs, and the third one?
So the third one would be especially what happens in terms of Vodafone Idea's fundraising, because they have raised about half of the funds required for capex through equity, and the other half of debt is where things are stuck up. So one thing to watch out for would be when Vodafone Idea is expected to arrest its subscriber losses. So if subscriber losses continue maybe after May, June of next year, I think that is some time where people might start building in a higher steady state revenue market share for someone like Bharti. So that is one. And finally, any potential IPO of Jio platforms also has to be watched out for, because that would also, depending on the valuation at which that IPO happens, that can keep telecom stocks buoyant during the next year.
Let's talk about Vodafone Idea, right? You said they only managed to complete half of their proposed fundraise, only the FPO. But the FPO, saw a lot of demand. It was subscribed 6-7 times. The stock went up to levels of 19 rupees. Now you've seen it come down to rupees 8. Now suppose on this curative petition on the AGR, the recomputation of AGR dues, right? If it turns out to be, a complete adverse outcome, there is no hope on that. what is the fair value of Vodafone Idea in that event?
So I think the street more or less bakes in the aspect that there may be no longer any AGR relief front, at least on the present value side. Of course, if there is any present value relief, if the government is able to conjure up any present value relief, then great. But I think one way of providing Vodafone Idea some relief could be by extending the moratorium on spectrum payments and AGR payments, which is set to expire from October of 2025. So if that is pushed out a little bit, then you will see that the cash flow position of Vodafone Idea would significantly improve. And that would mean that they would have a better shot as far as debt raising is concerned. Already we have seen that the government has allowed waiver of spectrum related payments pertaining to pre-2022 auctions. So these two might, would give Vodafone Idea a better shot in terms of raising debt. And that would mean that they would be able to continue their originally announced capex program of around 50 to 55,000 crore investments between FY25 and FY27.
All right, Balaji, always good hearing your thoughts. Thanks a lot for joining in and helping us out with that. Wishing you a good day ahead and looking forward to chatting up with you rather soon.